I've carried this story with me for years, not because it frightens me, but because it reminds me how fragile life really is. Some moments don't announce themselves as important. They arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary nights, ordinary walks, ordinary exhaustion. And if I hadn't lived through this myself, I'm not sure I would believe it either. But I know what happened. I know who was there. And I know that a stranger, one I never truly met, never let me fall. At that time in my life, I was barely holding myself together. On the outside, everything looked normal. I had a job, a routine, responsibilities. But inside, I was tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. I was constantly pushing forward, ignoring the signs that my body and mind were asking for a pause. I walked everywhere, even late at night, because walking felt like the only time my thoughts slowed down. That night, I left work later than usual. The building was almost empty, lights dimmed, hallways echoing. When I stepped outside, the city felt distant, as if I were separated from it by a thin layer of glass. The air was cold and damp, carrying the smell of rain that had passed earlier. Streetlights reflected on the wet pavement, stretching shadows longer than they should have been. I walked alone, my hands buried deep in my coat pockets, my shoulders slightly hunched against the cold. I wasn't afraid. That's the part that still surprises me. There was no sense of danger, no intuition screaming at me to be careful. My mind was somewhere else entirely, replaying conversations, worrying about things that no longer mattered. The route home was familiar, too familiar. I could have walked it with my eyes closed, and that familiarity made me careless. Ahead of me was the staircase, the one everyone in the neighborhood complained about. Narrow steps, uneven concrete, old metal railing, dim lighting. It connected the upper street to a lower road, cutting sharply downward. During the day, it was inconvenient. At night, it felt forgotten. I had walked down those stairs dozens of times before without incident. That night, I paused at the top. It was brief, just a second longer than usual. I remember staring down, noticing how dark the bottom looked, how the shadows swallowed the lower steps. For reasons I still can't explain, I hesitated. A quiet thought crossed my mind. Maybe I should go the long way around. But exhaustion always wins arguments like that. I started down. Each step echoed softly, my shoes making faint sounds against the damp concrete. I kept one hand near the railing, but didn't grip it tightly. Halfway down, my foot slipped. Not dramatically at first, just enough to steal my balance. Then gravity took over. The moment stretched. I felt my body tilt forward, weight shifting too far to recover. My heart dropped into my stomach. I remember thinking, very clearly, this is going to hurt. The stairs rushed toward me, sharp edges and hard angles waiting to break skin and bone. I had time to feel fear, to tense, to brace for impact. But the impact never came. Instead, hands grabbed me. They wrapped around my arms with strength and certainty, pulling me back so suddenly that my body snapped upright. I felt myself collide gently against something solid behind me. My breath left my lungs in a sharp gasp, adrenaline flooding every nerve. The grip was firm, steady, deliberate, not panicked, not clumsy. Someone had caught me. For a moment, I didn't question it. Relief flooded through me so powerfully that my legs nearly gave out. I stood there, heart racing, hands trembling, focusing only on the fact that I was still standing. Then reality caught up. I hadn't heard anyone approach. No footsteps, no voice, no warning. Slowly, my breath shallow, I turned around. There was no one there. The staircase was empty above me and below me. The railing was cold and wet beneath my fingers. The night was silent. My mind scrambled for explanations, but none of them fit. My arms still burned with the sensation of being held. Real hands, warm hands. I took a step back, my knees weak, confusion turning into something deeper. And that's when I felt it, a presence lingering close behind me, not touching me anymore, but unmistakably there. The air felt different, heavier but comforting, like standing near someone you trust. Fear never came. Instead, a deep calm spread through me, easing the tension in my chest, slowing my breath. A thought appeared in my mind, clear and gentle, not in my own voice, but not foreign either. I won't let you fall. Tears filled my eyes instantly, not from shock, not from fear, from relief, from gratitude. So intense it made my chest ache. I stood there crying quietly, feeling more seen and protected than I had felt in years. Slowly, I turned again. Under the dim street light above, I saw him, or at least the suggestion of him. A tall figure standing a few steps up, his outline softened by shadow. I couldn't see his face, but I didn't need to. His posture was calm, steady, watchful. He wasn't blocking the stairs. He was guarding them. He was watching me. Then, just as gently as he had appeared, he faded, not disappearing suddenly, but dissolving into the darkness like he had always belonged there. The sounds of the city returned. Distant cars, a dog barking somewhere far away, life continuing. I stood there for a long time, gripping the railing, my body trembling as the weight of what had almost happened settled in. Eventually, I continued home, moving slowly, carefully, every step intentional. That night, sleep came in fragments. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt those hands again, steady and unyielding, refusing to let me fall. In the weeks that followed, I found myself thinking about the stairs constantly. I started asking questions, casually at first. When I mentioned them to someone who had lived there for decades, their expression changed. They told me about a man who had died there years ago. A quiet man, a kind man, someone known for helping people, especially late at night. He had fallen. As I listened, my chest tightened, not with fear, but with recognition. The pieces fit together in a way logic never could, but my heart accepted instantly. Since that night, I've changed. I listen to my instincts. I slow down. I pay attention to moments when something feels off. And sometimes when I'm exhausted, when I'm close to losing my balance in more ways than one, I feel that same calm presence nearby. I don't believe all spirits stay to haunt. Some stay to protect. Some stay because they know what it's like to fall, and they refuse to let it happen again. I never learned his name. I never heard his voice out loud. But I know this. When I lost my footing, a stranger was there, and he never let me fall. So if you ever feel held up when you should stumble, or guided when you don't understand why, trust it. Sometimes, the ones who save us are the ones we never get to thank.